The technical wizardry has attracted loyal fans, but the graphic violence has attracted angry critics. Denounced by Congress here in the U.S., the game has been outlawed in Australia, and several other countries are also considering bans.
Is the nation's top-selling video game. The object?
Kill as many people as you can, get as many stars as you can.
For this retrospective, let's go back to a time when Rockstar shook up the video game industry with their release of Grand Theft Auto 3. Along with being one of the most difficult games I played growing up, it was also the first M-rated game I played growing up as well. And at the time, it was pretty different from the wholesome and more kid-friendly games I played back then. No doubt Grand Theft Auto found plenty of fans among children and young teenagers alike. But it also found plenty of critics for its depiction of graphic violence. I mean, here was a game intended to give the player absolute control and freedom. A game where it was the intention to do everything that you were told not to do as a kid. You know, not to steal, not to harm others, not to play with weapons. And Rockstar Games was offering this to young teenagers and children on a silver platter. You know, I've talked about several controversial games on this channel, but Grand Theft Auto 3 was basically the game that reignited arguments connecting video game violence to real life violence. The negative attention given to Grand Theft Auto 3 at the time kept people from understanding how technically impressive the game was. Grand Theft Auto 3 both revolutionized open world games along with offering some of the most immersive gameplay at the time. So for this retrospective, we'll explore what makes Grand Theft Auto 3 the game that shook up the video game industry. Grand Theft Auto 3 was released in October of 2001. It was the work of game developer DMA Design and publisher Rockstar that began as early as 1998. In 1998, the former BMG Interactive Studio, nowadays known as Rockstar, was established as a subsidiary under Take-Two. In the same year, Take-Two also purchased the rights for DMA Design from Infogrames. Together, DMA Design, the future Rockstar North in Edinburgh, Scotland, and Rockstar Games based in New York City would begin the game that would shake up the video game industry in 2001. I guess it goes without saying that 2001 was notable for another event. Leave it to a company like Rockstar to release a game that would be the most violent video game of the year around the same time that the nation was recovering from the devastating 9/11 terrorist attack on New York City. It also didn't help that Rockstar decided to base their game in a fictionalized New York City called Liberty City. And it also didn't help that the new office, which had only been around for a couple of years by then, had been close to the World Trade Center, nowadays known as Ground Zero. As a result, the original release date of Grand Theft Auto 3 was pushed back, and Rockstar was forced to make numerous revisions to the design of the game. Many of the revisions were pretty small and included meticulous things like changing the color of the police uniforms and vehicles to look less like the NYPD. Also removing a few missions that mentioned terrorists. Rockstar also had to alter the flight paths of planes so that they wouldn't fly into or behind skyscrapers. Upon its release in late October, Grand Theft Auto 3 would become the highest selling game of 2001, selling over 2 million units by February of 2002. Indeed, this was the game that basically made the Grand Theft Auto series a household name. By this point, none of us had really heard about GTA 1 or 2. Overall, it was a complete revision of the series when it came out compared to the previous games. But what exactly made Grand Theft Auto 3 that successful in the first place? Grand Theft Auto 3 at the time stood out for a story-driven narrative and immersive 3D environment. In GTA 3, you play as the unknown, unnamed criminal on a quest for revenge. After a successful bank heist, he's betrayed by his cartel-connected girlfriend, Catalina, and he's left for dead in the alley. After being arrested and sentenced to a federal penitentiary, he gets caught up in a hijacking by the Colombian cartel. The cartel ends up abducting an elderly prisoner, and he leaves you along with another prisoner to fend for yourselves. Then suddenly the hijackers decide to blow up the bridge, and you're presumed to be dead by authorities. However, you're soon shown driving away with your new accomplice. Essentially, at the start of the game, you're given a fresh start since the authorities think you're dead. And essentially, Grand Theft Auto 3 conveyed the feeling and desire for freedom commonly associated with the American dream. The unknown character symbolizes someone who, after a bad string of events, is given a new start and is once again given the freedom to set their own path. And for that reason, Rockstar DMA Design decided to leave the character unnamed and muted throughout the entire game in order to help the player identify more with them. The main character in his quest for revenge soon finds himself in the middle of a large-scale war between multiple factions which inhabit Liberty City. Along with the Sicilian Mafia and the Japanese Yakuza, our character must also contend with the Colombian cartel, Jamaican Yardies, and Chinese triads.
Goddamn seat. So the laundry won't pay any protection, huh? The triads think they can mess with me? Let's teach these would-be tough guys what it means to be a tough guy.
Teach him some respect. No son of mine gets it by some triads. Your father, God rest his soul, took no crap from no triads.
Yes, Ma.
Most of the warfare in Liberty City is concentrated around the distribution of a new drug called Spank, a new popular narcotic mostly controlled by the Colombian cartel.
Thing drives down real estate prices like a good old-fashioned gang war.
The sheer object of the game is completing various missions for these factions, all while unlocking new parts of the city. Now, it's pretty obvious that Grand Theft Auto 3 didn't have the most drawn-out story at the time. However, Rockstar wasn't trying to have the same typical linear story seen in most video games. Instead, they wanted to use the cutscenes to tell the story of Grand Theft Auto 3 in small doses. While the character's main drive is to get revenge against his girlfriend, you as the player get to immerse yourself into the shady underbelly of Liberty City. Each of the missions themselves serve as mini-stories that give you insight into what's happening in the city. Additionally, you get new cutscenes that provide more details on the story. Meanwhile, you come into contact with a wide range of criminals, many of whom are voiced by some famous and notable actors.
I know a real important man in town, a soft touch with, shall we say, exotic tastes and the money to indulge them. He's involved in a legal matter, and the prosecution has some rather embarrassing photos of him at a morgue party or something. The evidence is being driven across town.
It's my favorite cleaner. I'm proud of you, my boy. You kicked the shit out of those grease balls. I just got one little job for you before we can all celebrate. There's a car around the block from Luigi's club. The inside is covered in brains.
Gonna drill me.
In a moment, sweetheart. I got a little business to take care of. I got a little job for you, pal. The Ferrelli brothers have owed me money for too long and they need to be taught some respect. Lips Ferrelli is stuffing his fat face in the St. Mark's Bistro, so steal his car and take it to 8 Ball's bomb shop up in Harwood. You know 8 Ball, right?
At the time, no other game offered the quality animations used in GTA 3. By early 2000s standards, they were cutting edge. Through the cutscenes, Rockstar and DMA Design utilized film techniques seen in movies like Goodfellas and Godfather, such as master shots, close-ups, and more. What truly helped in presenting a cinematic story and immersive gameplay was DMA Design's and Rockstar's decision to use the Renderware graphics engine. This graphics rendering engine was used by many programmers who created games for the PlayStation 2. And given the PlayStation 2's ability to render DVD quality audio and video, this allowed the development team to store more data for the animations, music, and environments. Under the direction of producer Leslie Binaz, programmer Adam Fowler, and artist Aaron Gerbert, they conceived a streaming method that allowed the game's 3D environment and city layout to stream directly around objects such as cars. Combined with the use of the Renderware engine, DMA crafted an immersive 3D world where the player not only played in, but also lived. So if you didn't feel like doing any missions, you could honestly just mess around. One of the most memorable things of GTA 3 was the fact that you could walk around and everyone responded to what you did. And of course, you can expect GTA's innovative one system to prevent your progress throughout the duration of the game. This game mechanic is perhaps the most memorable as it challenges the player to not get arrested or wasted by police brutality. This was always one of my favorite parts of the game, as it did encourage the player to act out on their worst inclinations. Depending on the number of crimes you commit, your wanted level can range from 1 to 6 stars. Growing up, it was always a competition among friends or family to see who could get the highest number of stars and evade police for as long as possible. Given the content featured in GTA 3, you can imagine that there were plenty of critics at the time. One of the most famous critics of GTA 3 at the time was Senator Joseph Lieberman of Connecticut, the same senator who led the investigation to the console release of Mortal Kombat and the notorious Sega CD game Night Trap. After GTA 3 was released, the senator wrote the game as a dishonorable mention in the annual video game violence report. Yeah, did you know this existed? And around this time, a man by the name of David Walsh, head of the National Institute on Media and Family, claimed that the game glamorized criminal activity and violence. Regardless if the game did or not, many parents at the time, including mine, were really not that concerned about violent video games.
Even so, Lawrence Jones convinced his mother to buy the game.
I don't think that it's going to impact on him. I don't think it's going to erode morals or anything else.
But plenty of organizations still made it a mission to get GTA 3 pulled off the shelves. One of them was the National Organization for Women. Within their 2002 alert, they reported that Grand Theft Auto 3 not only encouraged violence and the degradation of women, but also encouraged sadistic behavior. To no avail, these initiatives did not take away from Grand Theft Auto 3's success. If anything, the negative attention sparked by the game only added to its fame. From this point on, anytime a public shooting would occur, Take-Two and Rockstar would basically be on the chopping block for over-concerned parents and media. Regardless, let's not fall into the trap of just labeling Grand Theft Auto 3 as a violent game. After all, it should be noted for its innovative game design, quality graphics and animations, and decent story. It also set major precedents for future open world style games in delivering a nuanced style of gameplay and storytelling. And while you can commit all the crimes you want, keep in mind it was never the grand objective of the game. The objective was to give the player sheer freedom in how they play. Well, that concludes this retrospective. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about another controversial video game. If you have not by now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And once again, thank you for watching. Stars. What do I have to do to get 6 stars? Stars. What do I have to do to get 6 stars? Stars. What do I have to do to get 6 stars?